Hello all sentient beings and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, we are joined by NFL football fan Epyk as we review Transformers Cyberverse Season 3, Episodes 9 through 12. The trailer for Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy Earthrise dropped, and we catch up on your feedback. Today is Friday, December 18th, 2020, and this is episode 212 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that's starting an OnlyFans for our Patreons, where we will do unboxings in our boxers. We'll call them Unboxerings. I'm your host, Charles, a.k.a. Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, a.k.a. Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
The amazing Epyk.
Hello.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
I'm willing if you're willing, Charles, but you go first. Let's talk Transformers.
There it is.
F.
I was just about to say it'd be a backward step for me.
I mean, you'd still put butts in the seats. I mean, right?
All right. Sorry, we're not going to do that just yet, but maybe if enough donatrons ask, I don't know.
It's an idea, guys. It's an idea out there.
That's right. There's no
Let
workshop.
us know what you think.
No bad ideas.
Daryl's totally up for it.
Maybe people can pay us not to do it.
As always, we start off the show by thanking our donatrons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. And you guys keep the show going, keep the engine running. So thank you so much for your support. You can also help out the show by buying merchandise from our TeePublic store. That's at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. And you can also help out our friend K-Girl at her store. That's at teepublic.com/user/superstark. We've got lots of cool shirt and mask designs at our TeePublic store. Also, if you buy anything from TeePublic through our link, that helps us out. And today is the last day of their site-wide sale at TeePublic, so everything is $14. All the shirts are $14, and then everything else in their store is 30% off, and that ends today, December 18th. So if you want to get a discount on your Christmas gifts from TeePublic, just go there now, transmissionspodcast.com/shop. All right, next week, we've got the next episode of Empire of Rust, our live play Transformers RPG podcast run by editor and producer extraordinaire Mike. And this is episode 39. These bots were made for stomping. So this is the continued story of our heroes in Empire of Rust. And you can check that out coming out this Monday, December 21st. And this is at transmissionspodcast.com/rust. All right, Jeremy, we had a Transmissions Extra last week.
Oh, we did. Yes, we did. We got Daryl to finally talk about The Mandalorian, which is, if you are a Donatron and you listen to us record live, I'm always trying to talk about The Mandalorian, and Daryl's always trying to.
It's because he loves it so much, right?
And no, he for some reason Daryl hates Star Wars, and might just be because he's Canadian. I don't know, but anyway, we were able to get him. We talked about The Mandalorian, so if you want to hear him completely bash Star Wars, and then you want to email him or leave feedback bashing him, you're welcome to. I'm not endorsing it, but I will laugh.
I don't know why you're doing this to me. I mean, I think I make some very valid points in that little discussion we had in the extra number 50, and I think I'm willing to back those up. But yeah.
But it is great that after we recorded that, Disney just announced a whole slew of more Star Wars stuff. Nothing else, just the Star Wars. So, anyway, it's up there on our extra feed, or just go to our website, transmissionspodcast.com/extra, and pick it up.
Awesome. And in a reverse trend for milestone episodes, this is the milestone 50th episode, and I think it's the shortest transmission extra we've ever done. So
yeah, it's like under 15 minutes.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on with the show and start off with comics news. So we've got one item in comics news this week. This is a YouTube video from artist Anna Malkova. She did a kind of a stop motion video showing her progress in developing the cover for Transformers number 25. So this is the cover she did, which was the retailer incentive cover. Or was it cover B? I can't remember which one it was.
It's cover
B. Okay. So this was cover B of the Transformers number 25. She did the interior art throughout the whole issue, so it's cool to see her process for doing this cover. It's a neat little video. It's about 3 minutes long, and you can see how it goes from concept to pencils to full to inks to full color. So it's really cool. So you can check that out. It's linked from tfw.2005, but it's also straight on YouTube. So you can check it out. I think Anna Malkova is doing a great job as one of the regular artists on the Transformers titles. Her and Beth McGuire-Smith are two awesome artists contributing to the comics, Transformers comics.
In the images that you see in there, I think she's snuck in like Swerve and maybe a few other characters from the previous continuity.
Oh, really?
And if you look like right above that first face, the second face, you can kind of see, it reminds me of Swerve, the grin there.
Oh, cool. I'll have to check that out and rewatch it. I didn't get to watch the whole video, but I just scrolled through it, so I'll have to check that out.
I was just looking at the image itself.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, so that's all the comics news, and so we will move on to our review for this week. And we don't have any new comics, so we are going back to the Transformers Cyberverse Season 3 And Daryl, take it away.
All right. Well, it's been a while since we talked about this. Jeremy, do you remember when it was that we last visited Cyberverse?
It was a while ago, episode 184.
Damn. I believe that was in May. Seems like a lifetime ago. So yeah, we left off. We finished episode 8 back then. And so we're going to do episodes 9, 10, 11, and 12 of Cyberverse Season 3 today. And so we're going to start off with episode 9, The Trial. And bear with me, I tried my best at doing an actual review of this, so it probably sucks, but we'll see. All right, so we rejoin the group of Hot Rod, Clobber, Whirl, Perceptor, and Dead End as they're searching for a way to wake up the giant titan Iaconus. They realize that they'll need a city speaker for such a task, and in an attempt to free Windblade from the parade simulation, Hot Rod is captured. In the chaos of the attack, the remaining members of the group are split up, sending Whirl and Perceptor one way and Clobber and Dead End another. But Clobber and Dead End aren't alone long as Soundwave stumbles out of the holding cell to join them. But something isn't quite right with Soundwave. Hot Rod is taken into a room where he's presented to what's referred to as the acting judge of the universe, a Quintesson judge who starts a line of questioning which is sporadic and centers around how Hot Rod and his group have managed to evade the Quintesson prosecutors for so long. Meanwhile, Whirl and Perceptor have made it back to the safety of McAdams and have been joined by Clobber and Dead End. They've started looking at Soundwave to see what might be wrong with him, as well as started venturing back outside McAdams in search of Hot Rod. Back in the courtroom, the Quintesson judge finds that Hot Rod is guilty of being way too hot roddy and sentences him to go back to the parade simulation. Since Hot Rod isn't having any of that, he breaks free of his bailiffs and escapes the Quintesson ship with the help of Whirl. And that's episode 9. So I'm going to finish the rest of these, and then we can kind of talk about what we thought here. And then we'll get back into the discussion at the end. So episode 10 is The Prisoner. The Quintesson judge is not happy having lost Hot Rod last episode, and has assembled all available resources to find him. The judge refers to himself as the master of the multiverse, which is kind of interesting. Inside the safety of McAdams, we find McAdam is trying to broker some cooperation between the Autobots and the Decepticons. This wasn't a problem until Soundwave showed up, but Hot Rod has a plan for defeating the Quintessons, and unfortunately Soundwave won't hear it. He's taking over command. That is until he glitches out. The issue with Soundwave has to do with the way that he was removed from the simulation, and we learn that Hound was removed the same way and never recovered. Soundwave still doesn't want to hear about this condition, or his condition, and tells Hot Rod that his plan sucks, and he runs out the door. Before the others can chase after him, he returns with a prosecutor drone over his shoulder. Soundwave intends to interrogate it, but since it's a drone, it'll be no good. They'll have to target a bailiff. As they set up to capture the bailiff, Soundwave orders Clobber to take out Hot Rod, whom she's become close with since the Quintesson invasion began. And as Soundwave, Dead End, and Whirl engage the bailiff, Soundwave glitches again, which causes Clobber to stop trying to kill Hot Rod for a moment. They join Dead End and Whirl and accomplish their mission. The interrogation of the bailiff reveals the only one who knows anything is the scientist. And that's the end of episode 10. On to episode 11, which is titled The Scientist. We got a nice origin of Laserbeak right at the beginning of the episode before the credits roll, or the opening credits roll. The group is back inside the Quintesson ship in search of the scientist. As they go further into the ship, Soundwave and Hot Rod get separated from the others. Hot Rod and Soundwave make it into the laboratory of the scientist, and he takes an immediate liking to Soundwave. He gushes about how Soundwave is blue, and that he doesn't have a blue one yet, then opens a door to reveal dozens of Soundwaves of different colors. Hot Rod remarks, "He's collecting you. Why would he collect Soundwaves and not Hot Rods?" The scientist reveals that he likes to keep a souvenir from every universe they conquer, and Soundwave is it. In disgust and anger, Soundwave attempts to blast the scientist with sound, and he glitches again. The scientist is shocked that this Soundwave is broken, and fixes it right on the spot. Soundwave then kills the scientist, and they proceed with their plan of shutting down the parade loop. Just then, a new copy of the scientist drops down from the ceiling, and Hot Rod kills it. Then another copy of the scientist drops down, and Hot Rod kills that one. Then another one drops down, and Soundwave kills it. This continues on, and a new scientist copy then grabs both Hot Rod and Soundwave in an attempt to feed them to some large egg experiment. But Soundwave has one more surprise tucked in his chest: Laserbeak. Laserbeak ejects and gets to the others to take them to the source of the parade loop. Once inside there, they change the source code to make all the bots still inside transform and free themselves. Then Hot Rod and Soundwave escape the scientist and join forces to destroy the new judge gestating within the egg. And that's the end of episode 11. And the last one, episode 12, The Alliance. Now that all the Transformers have been freed from their parade simulation, Soundwave and Hot Rod bring them up to speed with what's been happening and still what needs to be done, disconnecting the ship from the Allspark. With all the bots on the same side, except Megatron, they begin training for the assault, and Hot Rod makes a clip about having the touch, and a musical montage starts which isn't the touch. Windblade shows up and gets her assignment to wake up Iaconus. But she's thrown back by Iaconus' power, and McAdam warns her that Iaconus isn't just a city, he's a conqueror. Phase 1 of the plan starts with them breaking the line of the Quintessons and getting close to the ship, but the Quintessons aren't going down without a fight, and they send the Sharkticons out to face the Transformers as the prosecutor drones weren't much of a match. As things start to look bad for our heroes, Windblade returns back to try and awaken Iaconus once again. They need his help. Outside, the ground starts to shake, then cracks open up in the earth. A giant hand reaches up from the ground as buildings around it crumble to the ground. And that's the end of episode 12. And that's all 4, so it really does make you want to keep going into the next episodes. These are all cliffhanger episodes. The they really do a really good job, ending these episodes and making you want to go right into the next one. Charles, why don't we start with you? What are your thoughts on these 4?
This continued the strong season 3 Quintesson story arc for starting with the kind of the Matrix homage and continuing that. I really enjoyed this, and I liked the introduction of the Cyberverse Quintesson and then the scientist character, and it keep getting reinstantiated. I thought that was a fun way to have a villain that you can never get rid of. I also liked adding the Soundwave into the group with Hot Rod and having that tension there, and seeing Clobber having a real affection for Hot Rod since they struggled together for so long. It was nice to see the real Autobot and Decepticon team up, and then we kind of broaden our range to all the characters with the last episode, since all the characters wake up finally, which is, it's nice to see all our familiar favorites come back. But I really liked this whole arc of episodes with just focusing on this little small team of Hot Rod, Clobber, Perceptor, Dead End, and I guess Whirl and Soundwave came in later. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I thought it was a really good. They took their time and spent a lot of episodes on this, and I thought it was fun. I still don't understand why they keep calling them quintessence. I mean, we've talked about this. This is just, I don't know where they got that from. Why the voice director decided to have them say quintessence instead of Quintesson. I mean, just watch Transformers the movie, please. It's Quintessence. It's not quintessence. It's never been quintessence. No one's ever said quintessence before Cyberverse. I've said this before, but I'm mad AF about quintessence. So.
We found your peeve.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, other than that one detail, I think this show is great. And I really, it was nice to watch it over again, rewatch it after a few months. It still holds up.
Right on. Epyk. Going through these episodes again in preparation for this episode, I got to episode 11, The Scientist, and as in my rewatch, getting to the part in the episode where the scientist collects sound waves, I thought, oh my God, we've got Epyk on this episode. This is perfect. Tell me about your experience watching these episodes. I know that you were new to this, mm-hmm. and how much did your heart kind of explode when you saw that the scientist also collected sound waves?
Here's what I thought. Okay, I was going through the show, right? And first episode we watched, right? The Soundwave is who gets woken up on accident. And I'm like, oh, that's fun, since he's my fave, right? And then I started to become very suspicious that you made the decision to absolutely choose these episodes because I was on this show, because it just was like Soundwave porn. Okay, that's what was going on here. Okay, it's just he gets woken up, and not only that, I get a little Laserbeak origin story, and then here we go, a whole closet of him. I'm like, yes, this is great. This show has my vote. I don't need to see anything else. That's all I need. So yeah, my heart exploded with joy and jealousy at the scientist there with all those sound waves. I'm working on it. Okay, I'm working on it. But same with, I believe, the animated series that you had me exposed me to. You have exposed me to yet another show that I now need to go back and watch. And it's one of those things I always heard everyone loved it, always rants and raves about it, but I didn't necessarily love like the art style initially and stuff, but now that I'm like watching it and everything, it's like the humor's great, the story seems like really solid, the random bit that I got to see, but I could be biased because it's, as I said, just Soundwave, right? So I could have been blinded by him, but no, the story was great, and it just was really fun, and I really enjoyed it, and now I need to wrap up this podcast so I can freaking go watch the rest of them, so...
Well, I'm glad that you were happy with what I've exposed you to, because most people are not super happy with what I expose them to.
Are you referring to those unboxerings?
Yes, those things. Yeah. Now, I mean, the Soundwave in season 1, there is an episode where Soundwave has a bit of a dance party, so you might want to check that out too.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Jeremy, why don't you tell us what your thoughts are on these 4 episodes?
I think they were great. I love anything to do with multiverses, and the background that they're giving to the Quintessons I really like that, like the judging, instead of like we saw in the 86 movie, judging like, singular people that are kind of left over from Unicron's destruction. They are the ones that are judging an entire universe. Mm-hmm. That's a neat little touch. I enjoy the whole kind of quest that they had to go through, and then in the battle at the end with you have all the Sharkticons and stuff. We also have the Quintesson creatures. I'm not sure what they're called, but I was getting really big like Matrix vibes.
Oh yeah,
like the movie, the creatures that attack the ship,
the prosecutor drones.
Yeah, so that's, I don't know. I always like that. Like, I don't know anything about any other Matrix movies, but that the one that came out was great, and this reminded me of that.
Yeah, and I do recall we talked about that before when that
was in the before times
when we were still talking about the beginning of this arc. These are almost a direct ripoff of the Matrix movie. So it's Transformers.
I guess the being plugged in and stuff.
Yeah. So it's a fun little take off on the Matrix, and hey, I'll take it. It's inspirational. Or not inspirational, but it's inspiration for...
I thought it was fun that it was Matrix.
It's a very cool little storyline, and who cares that it's not original?
Well, I mean, their take on it is original.
Exactly.
I like it, the whole loop concept. That's great. I did look in the wiki, and it did say that the showrunners had intended to license the touch, but they were unable to do so.
Yeah. It's probably pretty expensive.
And a parent.
Yeah, or we can just, download the video and edit it in ourselves.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, this was fun. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Right on. All right, and that's it for our review of Cyberverse Season 3, Episodes 9 to 12.
All right, and we will move on to Transformers Media News.
Today in Transformers Media News, under TV and streaming, we've got ourselves the Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise trailer coming out. This show is set to drop December 30th, and here's a little synopsis about it. So what we've got is the War for Cybertron continues with the second chapter, Earthrise. With the Allspark gone, Megatron is forced to confront the harsh reality that his Decepticons are trapped on a dying Cybertron while also fighting off the persistent threat of Elita 1 and her Autobots. Meanwhile, lost in the darkest reaches of space, Optimus Prime and his team embark on a desperate mission that will push them to the breaking point as they travel to uncharted new worlds to face spacefaring mercenaries, enigmatic figures from long ago, and even their own creators. As Charles likes to call them, the quintessence.
You got it.
Grown.
The trailer does look awesome. Okay, I know, being a guest on this podcast, I really risked my guest spot here, okay, because I wasn't a huge fan of the first season, right? I had my issues with it, and this trailer, it does the same thing the first trailer did for me. It does make me excited. It does look super sweet. We get to see Galvatron is going to be joining us. Okay, so that's super exciting. That's cool. Can't wait to see how that goes. But yeah, it looks cool. I still hear hints of very slow talking happening. Okay, so that makes me nervous. But overall, I'll still watch it because I need to. I have to see how it goes. Have to see how we work in Galvatron here and see how Optimus and all them get out of it. So I know the boys here have all getting little sneak peeks of the show already, and I don't know if they're gonna say anything about it because they gotta watch their mouths. So, any of y'all got anything to say about it? You got any feelings about this trailer?
It comes out December 30th.
Okay. That's what I thought, but you know what?
It's a show.
Gotta check. It's a show.
It's on Netflix.
On Netflix, December 30th. Check out this trailer. It'll pump you right up, and you'll hear about it later. And that wraps up Transformer Media News.
And, much like when Siege came out, we had extra content that came out around when Siege came out. So that might happen again when Earthrise drops. So just be on the lookout for some transmission stuff.
Stay tuned.
All right. And I think that we will wrap up the show with some feedback. All right, we got a comment from friend of the show, longtime listener, Dual Mirrored Gridwork. And he left it on the Transmissions episode 411 show, but it was, I think, he was asking about some things that had to do with the cartoon, so we moved it over to alt mode. And he said in his note he doesn't mind which show it ends up on, so it's okay, we shifted it. He did mention, just to start off, by expressing some condolences and support for me after my, I had mentioned I had some deaths in the family, and so thank you, DMG, for your support and condolences. I appreciate that. He also said he has suffered a loss as well. One of his friends passed away, so. Our condolences to you, DMG, and it's this year's not been easy for a lot of people, so we'll just have to keep pushing forward. So on to the Transformers related comments. So DMG is a big he's a scale junkie, I guess. He's really interested in making sure that Transformers are in scale with each other, particularly in the various media. He mentions that the size of the planet Cybertron itself has been been a sticking point, because in the Marvel comic they say it's the size of Saturn, but in the G1 cartoon it looked like it was about the size of the Earth's moon, maybe a little bit bigger, but definitely smaller than the Earth. And then in the 86 movie, Unicron in robot mode seemed to be even smaller than Cybertron, even though you'd think Unicron should be big enough to eat Cybertron. But, this is the point where we'd say it's just a show. You should really just relax. But, if you're really interested in making sure that the scale matches up, you're interested in this stuff. And, who are we to judge your how where you want to focus your nerdery? We all have those things. I don't want to say quintessence, and it's okay if you want to focus on the scale of these the Transformers and the planet and everything. So he asks, how often do we pay attention to these sorts of details? And he says even in Transformers Prime, they said that Cybertron is bigger than the Earth, and so what do we do about all these inconsistencies? And he also, Daryl, he's thanking you for showing off your third-party Unicron that you showed off a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And he says he wanted to know how the transformation process worked for that. And have you had any breakage issues?
Well, I mean, I think I mentioned the transformation took a lot longer than I thought it would. It was difficult in some spots. But the only spots that I mentioned, I think I mentioned in the video that I did break, was when I was pushing really hard and I had it on a table, and I just kind of broke a couple of the little details on the surface of the planet. So that's about it. Other than that, it's been fine. And in robot mode, you really don't see it at all. So I'm fine with issue that I had. As far as scale goes, with regards to the Unicron, I've been kind of looking for a small little planet Earth that I can have him hold in his hand. I think it'd look dope. And as far as there being a Unicron for it, I think that the Cybertron Unicron, or sorry, not Unicron, Cybertron for it. I think that the planet Cybertron or Primus from the Cybertron line would work well for it, just as far as scale goes. But we've talked about DMG before with regards to his scale questions, and you're going to go mad trying to put everything in scale, DMG. It's it's not going to happen, especially if you want everything to be in scale with everything else. I mean, the only thing that I know of right now that is in scale, the one line that is trying very hard to be in scale is Studio Series. And other than that, everything else is just a free-for-all. So, aren't
Siege and Earthrise pretty much, they're doing a pretty good job being in scale?
Right, they are. But again, they're still within the...
Then they came out with Unicron.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're also... They're also the Generations line. They're a descendant of the Generations line, right? So, yeah. Studio Series has done a very good job of doing its own thing and being in scale with one another. So, if you're trying to have everything in scale, it's too difficult, right? So, I don't know. It's I would say if it's starting to work you up and it's starting to get in your head that the scale isn't working, have a drink.
I will say, I don't want to bring real world physics into this because I think that's probably just asking for trouble. But I would say that having Cybertron be the size of Saturn probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense because Cybertron is kind of all made of metal, and it seemed like if it's that size and it's that dense, the gravity would probably be ridiculous. So I would tend to think that Cybertron is going to be on the smaller scale because if it's so much more metal that compared to Earth, where Earth is mostly water on the surface,
come on,
so
Charles.
If Optimus Prime can have a space pocket that he holds his trailer in, then I'm sure Cybertron's got some like magic space bend technology going on there too to just fix itself to whatever size it needs to be.
I'm sure you can do whatever you want. That's what I'm saying. These are not real world things, so justify it however you want.
I'm all about scale. I do appreciate consistent scale, and I would agree that this War for Cybertron has actually done a really good job with that for sure.
Yeah. All right, and the last point that DMG wanted to make is says he also misses Yoshi, but he does understand why he's unable to be on the show most of the time, and yeah, we miss Yoshi too. But yeah, I gotta remind Yoshi to encourage him to send in a voicemail. He didn't do that this week, so we gotta get him to do it. Maybe we can get him to do something special for Christmas before next week's show. But yeah, Yoshi's still out there. He's still hanging around. Just it's hard to get our schedules to align to get him on the show. So yeah, but yeah, thanks DMG for writing in. Thanks for your support, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas. And that's all the feedback this week. So I think we will wrap it up here. Again, Epyk, thanks for joining us, and tell everyone where they can find your stuff online.
Yeah, head on over to epyksuicide.com. That's EPYK suicide.com, and you will find all my links there.
Cool. And we end the show, as always, by giving our shout-out to our Masterpiece Donatreons, and that is friend of the show, John 4X Levengood. Thank you for continuing to support us at such a high level. We really appreciate it. And that'll do it for Transmissions Alt Mode. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Later.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions Podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.